Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Elfalas and I'm walking you through Fox versus Renegades, the pick and ban. I'm going to be walking through the pick and ban in particular because I kind of want to just watch more pick and ban phases, figure out kind of how it goes. So I'm just going to get my kind of my first thoughts as we're going through. So Fox initially bans Rise. This makes sense to me because Renegades has picked a lot of Rise so far in the LCS. It's a comfort pick for Alexich, and I mean Renegades is 1-7, so they don't really have any super like mega power picks, but that are carrying them to wins. But Rise is definitely a champion that they've been doing good with. Now, Renegades responds by banning up Nidalee. Nidalee is a very strong snowballing jungler, really good for, roaming around into the enemy jungle, stealing some camps, getting down vision, and getting out very safely. With her W cooldown being so low, she has insane mobility. So I'm gonna quickly just pause the video so I can talk about the rest of the bans before moving on to the picks. Braum and Zed. So Braum banning by Fox, it makes a lot of sense to me because that's been a champion that Renegades have fallen back on a bunch for support. It synergizes with Freeze very well because Freeze is by far the best player on Renegades, so he's going to be playing, a hyper carry kind of champion. And Braum really goes well with hyper carries because he has such a strong early game that he can shore up some of the weaknesses that some of these, carry type champions have. And of course he's really strong in the late game, able to block out tons of damage with his stand behind me ability. And then Zed, I'm not sure about this as much. Teams are playing a lot of double AD carry team comps or triple AD carry sometimes, so Zed seems like an obvious counter to that, but we haven't actually seen a lot of Zed from anyone so far. So I think it can be a decent ban. I mean, if Fox has been playing, in scrims and Zed's been strong or something, I can see why that might ban it. I just haven't seen any games where Zed's been a super carry, just dominating everyone. Renegades bans LeBlanc and Twisted Fate along with the Nidalee. This seems to me to be, they're banning out champions that can really take control of the early and mid game and dominate through strong mobility and map pressure. So they're just banning those out. They don't want to deal with that. So, not sure if they're just not comfortable playing against high mobility champions, or if they just want to pick their own team comp with strong snowballing ability. So Fox picks up Corki right away. Now Corki is a good first pick because 1, he's really strong. 2, he's hard to counter, and 3, he's a flex pick. Okay, so you can play Corki in the mid lane or in the bottom lane as an AD carry. It doesn't really matter where he goes; he's going to be strong in both. I think we're going to see him in the mid lane though. The reason I believe we'll see him in the mid lane is because his early game wave clear is just that it's really wave clear. He doesn't have a lot of he doesn't have as much tower pressure as other AD carries until he gets Sheen, and then he can start, proccing Sheen with his rockets. And that's when he really hits his power spike. So I think putting him in the mid lane where you can get experience and be safer in a shorter lane and hit that level 6, hit that Sheen power spike faster, I think that makes more sense than putting him in the bottom lane. But we have seen some teams play Corki AD carry with great success. Now, Renegades responds by picking up Kalista and Lulu. Now, Kalista and Lulu are great champions that synergize well together. Kalista is a freeze special. Of course, we've seen him play that quite a bit. It's a really nice carry champion. He can take over games with that. Lulu just kind of synergizes straight with that Kalista pick. Able to boost her up with the ultimate and peel for her. Fox responds by picking Elise and Alistar. Now, Elise and Alistar are the early game tower diving combo, okay? Elise is obviously very good because she can drop tower aggro with her E ability Repel, and then Alistar is just super good at locking up champions, and of course he has a heal as well, which is really great for tower diving. And once he hits level 6, his ultimate ability gives him a ton of tankiness, lets him just sit under tower for as long as he wants, pretty much. Really good early game pressure pick. Now Renegades picks Poppy and Rek'Sai. Now Poppy and Lulu are flex picks, technically speaking, but I think it's pretty clear where they're gonna go. Well, Poppy's less clear, but Lulu is pretty clear where she's gonna go, because Lulu top lane doesn't really work as well in this meta, because a lot of picks just, like a lot of the popular top lane picks just kind of beat her in lane. It's just kind of how it is. Poppy can go support or top lane. Top lane Poppy and support Poppy. I'm not sure which is better, honestly. This is a flex pick. They both have their strengths and weaknesses. Poppy's really good without items, but she's also really good with items. She has some nice early game roaming potential, whatever. Rek'Sai is a good pick in this game, in my opinion, because he's able to really shut down early aggression with his Tremor Sense. He can just kind of sit near lanes and watch out for ganks, and so he can, or she, because Rek'Sai is she. Rek'Sai can just do a lot for Renegades and shutting down any early aggression from Echo Fox. It just really depends on how well Crumbs is able to path and read the enemy. So Echo Fox responds by picking Caitlyn and Malphite. Now Caitlyn is a pick I actually don't know a lot about. Power Trough kind of in the mid lane, or it's not in the mid lane, in the mid game, but pretty strong late game. Able to deal out a lot of damage with crits, long range crits. Able to put out some insane zone control with traps. This looks like so the Caitlyn pick looks a lot like they kind of just want to push in waves and then siege down turrets with the pressure from Malphite and Alistar tower diving. So this is it's pretty clear like what Echo Fox wants to do. They want to shove in a wave. They want to have, you know, Alistar and Elise nearby, and then some vision control so that Malphite can teleport in and get an engage under turret. And of course, Caitlyn's really great at sieging. She can set up traps around turrets to create zone control. Corki's really strong at wave clearing, so he can shove up the waves really quickly so that Caitlyn can start setting down her traps. This comp has a very clear win condition, and that is just early game, you know, pressure turrets with your Alistar and Elise, the threat of tower diving, so you can force people out of defending turrets. In the mid game, you just like send Malphite to split push, and you have Corki wave clear mid, and you know you can send Caitlyn to go and like freeze a lane and just farm. And then once Caitlyn's out of her power trough, you just start shoving down, you know, a lane. And yeah, that's just this team comp. I really like it because it has very clear win conditions that are easy to execute, I suppose. Renegades, on the other hand, they pick Quinn top lane. The problem I have with Quinn top lane is that at a certain point it just becomes very hard for her to duel Malphite. And that's really, like, when you look at Renegades, they don't have any strong wave clear. They have Lulu in the early and mid game. She can clear waves decently, but it's not as good as Corki. And come to late game, they have no way to deal with this, with the pushing power and tower diving of Echo Fox. I mean, if you look at this, if you look at this team comp, late game, they just send Quinn into another lane, and she has to split push. Problem is, she can't actually kill Malphite, right? And if she can't kill Malphite, she can't put down enough pressure to force, you know, Corki and Caitlyn to back off your turrets. So really, you just end up having an ineffectual Quinn pushing down a lane and not actually putting any pressure. It's just basically going to end up being like a 4v5, because Quinn doesn't do much. However, the one thing this team comp does do really well is map pressure in the mid game, because this Quinn split push will be extremely strong in the mid game. When she has, you know, a couple items, she'll be able to dual dismal fight. She'll be able to roam around the map and apply a ton of pressure. There's a double teleport too on the top lane, on the Lulu, and on the Rek'Sai. So actually it's triple teleport. So that's a lot of global pressure. So Renegades does have a chance to win this game if they just play the mid game really well and are able to close it out. But the problem I see with this kind of strategy is that we haven't seen Renegades be able to close out their games where they've had leads, right? They were winning against TSM recently, and they got themselves a really good lead in the early and mid game, but they weren't able to close it out, and they lost out late game. And so I don't see Renegades winning this game, because just based off this pick and ban, because they have a great early and mid game comp, which the Renegades, I'm sure they'll be able to play it out pretty well and be able to get a decent lead, but once late game comes, they have no way to deal with this Echo Fox comp. And so, I don't know. I just don't see... I think Echo Fox really won this draft just based off of the abilities of Renegades and Echo Fox. They're both 1-in-7 teams. You know, this game is going to go late, you know. These teams don't know how to close, most likely. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on the draft of Echo Fox and Renegades. I might actually make a video of the actual VOD too, just to see if my predictions come true. I don't know, we'll see. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Otherwise, don't. Whatever. See you later, guys.